Do you ever look at your life and just feel a little bit of shame? You see all the things you've started but never quite finished, and it gets you down. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. We're going to reframe that feeling because what you might see as chaos, it might actually be your greatest strength in the world we live in today. So, does this sound about right? There's a guitar in the corner gathering dust, a half-coded website on your laptop, maybe some fancy baking tools in the kitchen you used once. And now you've got this sudden urge to learn jujitsu. You feel like you just can't pick one lane and stay in it. Society has a word for that, right? Dilettante? But what if that's not the whole story? Not even close. You've heard this a million times. A jack of all trades is a master of none. Maybe you've even said it to yourself, to beat yourself up a little. It makes you feel like an imposter because you haven't dedicated your entire life to mastering one single thing. It's the classic critique for anyone with a curious mind. Yeah, but they always leave off the ending. The full quote is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. That completely flips the meaning on its head, doesn't it? It suggests that having that breadth of knowledge isn't a weakness at all. It's a huge advantage. This feeling of being scattered isn't some defect. It's your brain, your highly adaptive nervous system, getting you ready for the future. Okay, so why do we feel so much anxiety about this? To get that, we have to look at the big lie we were all sold. See, for the last 100 years or so, the world rewarded the specialist, the person who dug one single hole but dug it a mile deep. The problem is that world is vanishing fast. And this is the key distinction. The past was what you'd call a kind learning environment. Think of it like golf. The rules are fixed, you practice your swing for 10,000 hours, you get good, and you win. Simple. But our brains know instinctively that we're not playing golf anymore. We're in a wicked environment where the rules of the game are changing under our feet constantly. And that's the real problem, isn't it? In this new wicked world, that old strategy of hyper-specialization, it's not just outdated, it's actually become incredibly risky. Digging that one deep hole can leave you completely trapped. I mean, think about it. When the rules are always in flux, being a hyper-specialist makes you fragile. If your one specific industry gets turned upside down by AI or automation or a massive economic shift, all that deep, narrow expertise can become obsolete literally overnight. So, if being a specialist is fragile, what's the alternative? Well, this is where we reframe your so-called chaos. It's not a personality flaw, not at all. It's actually the unconscious construction of a really rare and powerful way of thinking, a cognitive architecture. The magic behind the superpower actually has a name in psychology. It's called far transfer. It's this incredible ability to take an idea from one field, say from DJing and yoga, and apply those lessons to solve a brand new problem in a totally different area. It is the engine of all innovation. Let's just break that down a bit. A specialist? They use something called near transfer. They solve problems they've already seen before using the tools they already know. Sure, it's efficient, but it's super limited. You, on the other hand, you're a master of far transfer. You connect these completely separate domains to create solutions nobody has ever thought of. And that, right there, is the very definition of innovation. Let me give you an example. Imagine a web developer who used to be a beekeeper. Now, on paper, those two things have nothing to do with each other, right? But their background in agriculture gives them this totally unique understanding of organic systems, of growth cycles. They don't just write code, they cultivate a digital ecosystem. That's a perspective a pure specialist could never, ever have. So I want you to let this sink in. You feel like an imposter because you think you're not the absolute best at any one thing. But you're missing the point. Your true value doesn't come from depth in a single field. It comes from your unique ability to synthesize ideas from all your different interests. And this brings us to a new model for how your mind works. Forget being T-shaped, broad knowledge with one specialty. You are M-shaped. You have multiple deep pillars of knowledge, and they're all connected by this amazing bridge of wide-ranging curiosity. That's your cognitive architecture. Now, getting this is a huge relief, I know, but it doesn't solve that immediate feeling of burnout. You look around, you see your peers climbing the ladder, becoming senior VPs. Well, you feel like you're back at square one because you keep switching tracks. So how do you build this M without just falling apart? The key is realizing you can't build all the pillars of your M at the same time. You'd go crazy. The secret is something called serial mastery. You have to start seeing your life in seasons.
You dedicate a season to going deep on one interest, you build that pillar, and then you move on to the next.
I mean, look at how this can play out over a whole lifetime. Maybe your 20s, that was your music and art season. Then in your 30s, you dive into programming, maybe to pay the bills. And then in your 40s, you start building a brand new pillar in game design, which, by the way, beautifully synthesizes the first two.
So please let go of the guilt. You didn't quit art or music or whatever your last obsession was. No, you simply finished that season of construction. You built a pillar, and now it's a permanent part of your M-shaped mind.
And this all builds to one final, really powerful idea. All this time, while you thought you were just chaotically jumping from thing to thing, you were accidentally building the ultimate survival strategy. You were making yourself bulletproof.
In evolutionary biology, there's this concept called redundancy. It's fascinating. It's the reason elephants almost never get cancer. They have multiple copies of their cancer-fighting genes, so if one copy fails, another one just takes over. In nature, redundancy isn't wasteful at all. It's the absolute key to being resilient. And your wide-ranging, seemingly chaotic interests? That's your redundancy. Every skill you've ever picked up, every weird rabbit hole you've gone down, that's another backup system. They make you adaptable, they make you resilient, they make you pretty much unbreakable. Look at it this way, okay? A specialist software engineer might be absolutely terrified that AI is going to automate their job. And maybe it will. But what if you're a software engineer who also knows electrical wiring, who can fix an HVAC motor, and who has experience teaching English? It doesn't matter what happens to the economy or technology, you always have a pivot ready to go. So stop looking at that graveyard of hobbies as a list of your failures. They weren't failures. They were semesters. They were courses and a curriculum that you designed for yourself. You've been building this incredible safety net of skills this whole time without even realizing it. So from here on out, understand this. Your curiosity is not a liability. It is the very engine of your adaptation. It is time to stop apologizing for it and start seeing it for the absolute superpower it really is. You were never, ever meant to be just one thing. You were built to be the synthesizer, the innovator. You are the bridge between worlds that specialists can't even see exist. So the only question left is, what incredible things are you going to connect next?